Of the large number of players that were missing from the round 18 game, how many of those will return for this one?
Well, there's going to be 6 players that haven't played against North City this year in Clark, Slight, Coleman, Duhart, Sheehan and Monzel. So arguably those 6 are probably in our top 10 or 11 players. So yeah, I think there'll be a lot of them play.
And obviously the success of last year, you wouldn't be a good footballer if you didn't want to do that again, but has it been in any way a challenge to get blokes motivated to really produce their very best this season?
That probably start of the year, mid-year, when you kind of have a bit of a lull, looking back on what you've achieved last year. But our whole focus was giving an opportunity to play finals. And then once we got the finals, we refocused. And I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a focus on back-to-back. And we've given ourselves the opportunity to do it. Now we've just got to perform.
Robbie's already said that he's dismissed the round 18 result. That means nothing now. Is there any way in which you guys think that you've got a little bit of ground to make up with regard to that, or is it the fact that you're going to have such a significantly different team for the grand final that you're just seeing it as a totally clean slate?
No, we've seen them with their full confidence, and we've seen it again last week. If you allow them to run, they'll beat us. If we don't drive their run, they will win. So our focus from that game was that's probably the only thing we took out of it. They're very good ball users, so you've seen that last Saturday. So hopefully with those inclusions and the way we're playing at present with the inclusions, hopefully 2 contrasting styles, game styles. So yeah, it's going to be a good game.
Both defences are going to be under enormous pressure because we know that both forward lines are very potent on their day.
Yeah, both. You don't have to look at Lyle last week, like sitting to the right, Greg. He just controls their whole forward line structure, where they go, run here, run there. We'll have to combat that, but I think what Robbie said before, the game will be won in the midfield. There's some fantastic matchups in that midfield, and I think that's where the game will be won.
Do you have any players still ready to be subjected to tests under an injury cloud or anything?
No, we trained last night, and Duhar, Sullivan both had their fitness tests and both come through with flying colours. So both of those players will play. So the headache I'll have is probably got 3 or 4 players vying for one spot, which that's the disappointing part of the grand final. You have to tell those players Thursday night. But it's good, healthy to be.
And does the tyranny of distance pose problems for you in terms of watching the likes of North City, or do you feel that you're well enough educated on the way in which they've played this year?
No, I'm pretty well up with it. With the Red Onion footage, you can watch the game every week. They played on a Sunday, we come and watched. Played on finals, we watched. I'm sure Robbie's had blokes at our training, we had blokes at their training. So pretty much up with it.
Thanks, Rick.
Good news story, Timmy Hill dropped last year for the grand final. Looks like he's going to get a game on Saturday.
Yeah, he was one of the players that I got to straight after we beat Redan, and got to probably the bottom 6 players first. Then I went to Timmy and I told him that he was playing in the grand final. It's a bit emotional for him, and it's a great story. Last year he played 15 games, played 2 finals. We left him out for the grand final. With matchups, we went with the tall instead of the small. It's pleasing, great part of the coaching to tell him that he's got a game.
Do you think there's going to be a few guys drop this week? Will you reinforce the message that say, look, Tim's got dropped last year, he's come back up, now he's playing the grand final? That's going to be some sort of message that you give to the guys who are unlucky this week, you'd say?
No, I won't use that at all. What I did was I used that as a motivation during the year. You don't want to be the Timmy Hill this year. So we had a lot of injuries, so a lot of blokes got opportunities to have senior experience, and that's what we used. You don't want to be the Timmy Hill come September, and it just motivated a few of those young blokes to play their roles. We were surprised with the experience that those young guys came up, and that's held us in good stead leading into September.
And having the week off, you said just put up a bit sore after a game 2 weeks ago. How much of an advantage is it having the week off leading into the grand final like you did last year when you came out and you won by 10?
Yeah, if you had to watch the game North City Redan on the weekend, Redan started really well, and then all of a sudden they just ran a puff. And spoke to Gilly after the game, and he said that a lot of his players couldn't train Tuesday. They were sore, shins. The ground was pretty firm. It's a bit more water on it now. So we've had the week's rest. We trained very, very lightly on the week that we had off, on the Tuesday. And I think so it's beneficial to some of our players that have limited preparation.
10 or so years ago, Sunbury was probably the hated team of the BFL. Nobody liked to see winning flags, everyone do a winning couple here and there. It might be a different case on the weekend, do you think? What's been behind the transformation that Sunbury's not the hated team it once was, they're more so respected and people are almost happy to see them win the grand final even though they're not a valuable side?
Yeah, it's been very pleasing to come and watch on the weekends and watch the other finals and people supporting Sunbury. It's, I think it's because of the team that we're playing, their perception around the place. So, yeah, we might have a home crowd this weekend, so that might, give us one goal maybe, if that. Yeah, so it's a different thing that we haven't had to think about. I don't really think of that much bearing on the playing group, but yeah, it's been different.
Yeah, so it probably wouldn't have that much bearing on the group, but what's behind the transformation? Why isn't Sunbury the despite side it once was?
I think going back in history, when they first came into the league, they won the first 3 premierships, and they were pretty arrogant. Well, that's what you should do when you win 3 in a row. And I think that's what the perception was of Sunbury Footy Club. And I think it's probably got a bit to do with who we're playing this weekend. And I wouldn't, if we were playing with Dan, I don't think we would have the Lakers or East Point. I don't think we'd have the home support. It's only because North Ballarat, when I played in the league, they won the grand final every year. So it's probably the same bit what happened to Sunbury when we first come in.
You haven't beaten North this year. Does that not factor in at all, or is that completely just irrelevant?
I think it's irrelevant come grand final play. But I would have said that last year as well. So plus the makeup of our team, is totally different to those 2 games.
And last year you had the bye before the grand final. You won. The year before you didn't have the bye and you lost. What does that mean for the players, and what does it mean for the coaching staff as well? Is there a lot of thought that this is going pretty much how we planned it to go?
Yeah, well, the psyche of it, we did it last year with the week off. We didn't do it when we didn't have it. It'd be pleasing for the playing group and the club. We've made 3 grand finals in a row. If we could finish 2-1, lose one by 2 points, that's pretty successful 3 years. That's more to the point than having the week off. But I think just for the players, they probably feel with themselves the week off's freshened them up. Training's been, the way it should be before a grand final. Very sicky.
Do you think you will be a bit fresher? Say if it's come down and it's even in the last quarter and there's 10 minutes to go, do you reckon you might have more legs because you've had that week off?
Probably depends how the game goes. If it's a really physical game, the way we're both predicting, maybe it might have something, might not. Their superior fitness, maybe. That's their belief is that they're fitter than us. There's a lot of words, but it'll come down just to the game in 120 minutes. So it's going to be a good game. We've got a real spectacle about to happen.